In tonight's readings, Jesus is in a battle in the desert. It's a battle of light versus darkness. It's a battle of life versus death. It's a battle of an exceptional life versus a boring life. And really that's how we have to start seeing Lent. It's the introduction to an exceptional life. If you've ever been to an ICU, you'll know that it's a constant balance of various things to keep someone alive. For people who are almost dead. Balance of sodium and potassium in the blood and the tissues. Acid versus bases in the intubation tube. Water versus sodium. It's an endless cycle of too much of this, and they constantly have to balance it out. But a lot of us, including myself sometimes, we live lives like that as if we're almost dead and comfort is our God. We're constantly in need of, it's 66 degrees, I've got to get it up to 69 degrees. I ate 2 hours ago, I have a little aching for a donut, a Starbucks, whatever you want, it's all at your hands in Denver and anywhere you go. That's how dead people live in an ICU. Lent is finding the time. We have to stop seeing it as just a rough time to give something up. It's like driving down a cold night in your car. It's nice and warm. Maybe you just roll the windows down. It's cold, it hurts. That one single deep breath. Now you can breathe and now you can live. Sometimes that happens when we enter Lent the right way, when we see it as a way to live an exceptional life. Tonight I'm going to talk about two different ways that we can come to know this and how we learn from Jesus in the desert. Awareness and victory. If you need mnemonics like I do, just think of audio-visual. AV, awareness and victory. We come to awareness of spiritual things through our head and through our heart. Through our head and through our heart. And we have to do this as children, for Jesus said, become like little children. I think of how I once saw little children become aware of me once. I was in line at King Soopers with my partner on the ambulance, and we were buying stuff to get back to the fire station. I was handing off the food, checker was checking it out, my partner was to my right, and I noticed a 9-year-old boy and a 5-year-old girl looking at me. And the 9-year-old boy, very intellectual, looked at me and says, "Paramedics save people's lives on ambulances." And then the 5-year-old girl says, "You go really fast sometimes." And then look back at the 9-year-old, and the 9-year-old boy looks at me and he says, "A paramedic is there to help both the injured and the sick." And then back to the 5-year-old, "You should come to my house sometime." And I look back at the 9-year-old, and he says, "Equipment must be checked before every shift." And back at the 5-year-old, she says, she grabs on the candy in her eye. "You want some candy?" The head and the heart. It's like living with Father Kevin and Father Peter. Now, there's always exceptions to this, so forgive the broad stereotype here. But often men come to spiritual awareness when they don't just use their head, but also learn to use their heart. Women also, from the other side, when they're able to see their heart not just as the center of emotions, but the seat of the intellect. That brings girls to women and brings boys to men. We're called to have the hearts of boys and the heads of men, but our culture gets it the opposite way. So Jesus is out in the desert today. He sees Satan. Satan's not just a psychological configuration in his mind. Satan is real. He sees him with his eyes of his heart and with his physical eyes. We can't because we lost that through the fall, through Adam and Eve's fall, and we all inherited that. But we're surrounded by angels, and